All Blacks versus England. Wowee, we have a brutal, brutal game coming up, guys. Can't wait. Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple of main talking points. The firstly being the history between the All Blacks and England over the last couple of years. Potentially what we can learn out of that. Secondly, tactics from both teams, what I'm expecting them to look to do and look to exploit and play in the match to take it to the opposition. And then finally, key players that I think will be absolutely crucial to deciding the result of the match. Number one, look, talking point, history from the last few games between the All Blacks and England. So what can we learn out of that? Look, I suppose if you look back to the last couple of games at Twickenham, there was that game, 2018, won 16 points to 15 to the All Blacks. Very, very little in that game. And there was that controversial charge down by Courtney Laws on TJ Perenara. Look, if that hadn't happened, England win the game. So really close encounter. And then obviously 2022, the All Blacks were, as a team, they were in strife in the Ian Foster era. They got to a good lead and then England came back and scored, a couple of really good tries in the last 12 minutes of the game and drew the match, So really crazy. And then not long after that, Eddie Jones was removed from England. So close again. And then ultimately, look, you look to 2019 at Yokohama Stadium in Japan, where England absolutely thumped the All Blacks. Even the scoreboard there, though, a couple of turned down chances by England. They won 19 points to 7 there. And even, I don't really think the scoreboard reflected that game. Like, England absolutely thumped the All Blacks in that game. Finally, you look to earlier in the year, the All Blacks versus England in those games. The first one won by 1 point by the All Blacks, and then the second one won by 7 points. So again, very, very close. The first game gone either way, and even the second one, if it wasn't for that moment of brilliance by Beauden Barrett running down the left side and setting Mark Talia up for a try, England would have won at Eden Park. So history tells us they're going to be a brutally close counter. So that's what I'm expecting, guys. How do I expect both teams to look to play? I think firstly, looking at the All Blacks, I think you could see in the Japanese game, they're looking to play with a lot more width on attack, and certainly you could see that they're not just getting it to the centre and then trucking up, they're looking to get it to the centre and right onto the wing, and then spin the ball, maybe truck it up a couple of times, then right to the other side to the winger. And I think that's good. That suits the New Zealand DNA, because obviously New Zealanders love the running rugby style of rugby. And particularly if they're getting right to both wings, you could see the effect that it had on Japan, fatiguing the opposition. Obviously Japan is not England, and they're not in a top 5 side in the world, but I think that's what they'll look to do. Get the ball wide, find space. Again, I think the All Blacks will look to match England physically. I think they'll probably look to impose a bit more variety in attack. I think earlier in the year it was generally pretty one-dimensional, either off the halfback or the first 5. I think they'll look to have a few more pick and goes, maybe a Sever Reece or a Mark Talia just coming in, pick and go, just to test the defence of England with a bit of variety. And I think they'll look to find space with their kicking game and use that a bit better. So yeah, I'm expecting a fast game by the All Blacks, and we'll see what England can impose on them. Alternately, look, England, I'm expecting brutal rush defence again. Look, their defence in the New Zealand series was brutal. It was really effective. Get in the face of the All Blacks, shut them down, give them no room to move. I'm expecting some brutal physicality again. I think this time around it's probably going to be different. Twickenham, that's their turf. If the All Blacks are going to beat them at Twickenham, you're going to have to beat us physically, and that's not easy to do. Those English guys, they are big, powerful men. On attack, I'm expecting England, I think they're going to look to exploit the All Blacks, particularly with that close quarter type attack, either straight off the halfback or Marcus Smith, either inside balls or short balls off him. And I think if you look at previous games against the All Blacks, I think their defence is a little bit weak in that area, in that close quarter defence. So I think that's where they'll look to attack them. And then once they really apply the pressure, squeeze the All Blacks defence in tight, I think they'll look to shift the ball out wide and score some tries when it's on then. So, yeah, I'm expecting England to really take it to the All Blacks on defence, and I'm expecting England to take it to the All Blacks and score tries. I think they know if they're going to beat the All Blacks, they're going to need to score tries, accumulate points to beat them, because the All Blacks, I imagine they'll score at least, 1 or 2 tries and accumulate some points. So, yeah, brutal test match coming up for England there. Key players for both teams. First one for the All Blacks is Beauden Barrett. All Blacks supporters and coaches and a number of Kiwis have talked all year about the game management from first 5. Beauden Barrett has only had 1 game to date this year for the All Blacks at first 5. He played well there in that second test against the Wallabies, but his game management, and as expected, first game back, he's not rhythmically into it at first 5. But it's going to be a brutal game. Look, I'd go as far as if he plays well and he's composed, that will go an awful long way to helping the All Blacks beat England. Yeah, brutal game for Beauden Barrett. Number 2, look, Ardie Savea. We know the physicality that England is going to bring. Absolutely brutal physicality from them. They're big, powerful, tough men. So Ardie Savea needs to 100%, take it to the England forwards. And you saw how he did it earlier in the series against England. We're going to need more of that from Ardie Savea for the All Blacks to win. Finally, Wallace Satiti. For a young man, he's a breakout player, isn't he? But I think from him, the big focus and what they need from him is just that raw physicality. You saw it in the Cape Town test against the Springboks. He can match international sides physically, and he did in that game. So it's a good opportunity for him, and definitely he'll need to man up against England. For England, I think they're 2 key players for me. Firstly, Maro Itoje. Look, guys, I'd go as far as saying I think he's definitely one of the best locks in the world at the moment. His basics, his set piece, his work at the line out, scrummaging, he's really effective at that, isn't he? And you saw in that New Zealand series, he really put that All Blacks line out under real pressure. So I'm expecting him to look to do the same. But not only that, his raw physicality, his work at the breakdown and his ball carries, I'm expecting a big performance from him, and he'll have to play well in a big test like this. Secondly, Marcus Smith. Wow, he was so impressive in that New Zealand series early in the year. I think he's definitely becoming, even at the moment, I'd say he's definitely one of the best fly halves in the world. Particularly that New Zealand series, what I thought was fantastic about him was his game management. The way he communicates and leads that back line or forwards, he's barking orders, telling people to run certain lines off him. And then he's also got real speed, doesn't he? So if he sees a half a gap, he can just cut through the line. And yeah, so as well as that though, look, his defence, his kicking was really effective earlier in the year. So it's a big game for him and a big opportunity. Look, if he plays well, that'll go a long way to England beating the All Blacks. Finally, my prediction of the match. I honestly think it'll be similar to previous matches. I think it's going to be brutal. I think it's going to be very close. I can't see either team winning by 15 points, for instance. I think it'll come down to key moments like the one I said earlier in the year where Beauden Barrett makes a gap down the left side and sets Mark Talia up at Eden Park. Ultimately, the All Blacks win because of that. So that's what I'm expecting with this match. Again, could go either way. I think with this match, though, I'm going to go the All Blacks by 5 points. For me, I just think that they're starting to find their rhythm. They're starting to find some game management, getting the ball wide, starting to execute their attack a bit better, with better shape. And with Beauden Barrett there, assuming he plays well at first 5, I think that'll make a big difference. So, but again, very close. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if either team won. But I'm going All Blacks by 5. Guys, let me know your thoughts on the prediction. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and add any further comments you think about the All Blacks vs England game coming up. Can't wait. It's going to be a cracker. Cheers.